Black Power, and grand afternoon to all of our melanated people in North Tulsa as well as around the globe. I'm going to give everyone a few moments to try to come on into the room, and I will not be before you long. So come on in the room, family. You are watching Conscious Talk Radio with your host. I am Miss Nikki, sitting in temporarily for Ray One. We're currently working on a new format of Conscious Talk Radio, particularly because those of you that may be unaware, the FCC sent their Gestapos to our little small North Tulsa radio station and deemed that it was their responsibility to suspend our license to broadcast over the air. And as a result, Urban Enterprises Tulsa, as well as Urban Radio 100.7 FM, is working in a reinvention of our brand. So we ask you to continue to support, continue to be patient with us as we're working out the kinks of this reinvention. So for today, and I will not be before you long, as I mentioned, the goal of today's program is to address many of those crucial headlines impacting Black America. And we wanted to address some that were currently in the focal view of disenfranchisement, things that are being unjust, and also things that highlight the proliferation of white supremacy in our country. So the first thing that I'd like to discuss is 3 days ago, the body cam video that was released in the fatal shooting of 15-year-old Jaheim McMillan in Gulfport, Mississippi. The grand jury found that the officer who shot that young brother 8 times, the first being a headshot and 7 other shots to the body. The grand jury just recently found that that officer should be vindicated for that unjustified shooting. If you are unaware of what happened to Brother Jaheim McMillan, you can Google the information. This young brother was 15 years old in Gulfport, Mississippi, exiting out of a car. They've got several videos and body cams from different angles, and you know how they do. And with those body cam footages, they found that the officer was justified and wanted to claim that the young brother had a weapon in his hand when he exited the automobile. I personally have seen the video myself. I know what they want us to believe that's happened. I don't stand with the grand jury. And I'd like for all of my melanated people to take an opportunity to view it for themselves. And maybe next week we can come back and talk about it as a topic of the show. Even more importantly, I'd like to also reach out to the family of this young brother to see if there's a way that we can get some insight from them as to what the recent developments are on that entire situation. So my standpoint right now is justice for Brother Jaheim McMillan. It will continue to be that until right on. Another thing that we wanted to talk about today was on February the 15th, Peyton Gendron, the young avowed white supremacist in Buffalo, who shot 10 Black people because they were not white, while he was entering into a supermarket. His murder trial and sentencing has recently taken place, and they have found that he may be sentenced to death, a punishment that he definitely deserves. his trial has not received a lot of mainstream media and attention. And we already know why that is. Particularly because um, white America is not concerned with Black people's pain and the suffering that always seems to be temporary. Now, we as a people, we have continually marched, we have continually held up signs of solidarity, we have continually provided support by placing signs in lawns and things of that nature. But it's time for us to recognize that the Black pain and suffering that takes place in this United States is always going to be whitewashed from the white imagination. So we need to hold ourselves in solidarity and on code, in hoping that the grand jury does sentence him to death. Okay, and rightfully so. Another thing that I wanted to talk about today was on Wednesday, February the 22nd. If you are familiar with the comic strip Dilbert, which I've never read it myself, but there was a comic strip by this gentleman, and the creator is named Scott Adams, and he hosts a popular online video podcast, if you will, and it's called Real Coffee. And during his program, he recently stated that Black people constitutes as a hate group. Okay. He also stated in that broadcast that white people should get the hell away from Black people. Now, he himself also wanted to echo that he has faced backlash and racism in Hollywood because he was a white man, and that he has faced reverse racism. One of the things I found that was very interesting while researching this particular case or issue was that Scott Adams utilized a Rasmussen survey where 1,000 American adults were asked a particular question. And the question was, is it okay to be white? And even the Anti-Defamation League thought that phrase was a hate slogan. But the survey asked 1,000 Americans, is it okay to be white? And the result of the poll indicated that 72% of the 1,000 Americans surveyed agreed that the statement that it was okay to be white. And that's okay if that's what they want. But the irony of that was 53% of Black Americans who took the same survey agreed that it's okay to be white. So the poll indicates that 79% of the respondents agreed that Black people can be racist, and that 66% of the Black people that took the survey agreed with that. Now, I don't know what planet these Black people are on, but it is not possible for Black people to be racist. Anyone that sits up and echoes that context is absolutely foolish in that perspective. Adams even went on to say that there's basically no way to fix society, and that white Americans need to continue to segregate themselves from Black people. And he himself lives in a segregated neighborhood, and that his best advice, again, is for white people to stay the hell away from Black people, and that there's no way of fixing society any other way except by segregation. Now, I personally don't have a problem with that. I think that our society has become so homogeneous that we have forgotten that it's important to have Black space, that it is important to have Black places. It's important to have Black voices. It's important to have opportunities where it's just us. It's time out for us in this society to keep, allowing our enemies through the door and allowing them opportunities to, um, you know, dance with us and become vultures of our culture and pick up our vernacular and it's time out. And if we continue to do it, we won't have a culture anymore. I recently read that even at Coppin State in the DMV just recently had their cotillion on that HBCU campus, and a Latina woman won queen. Our HBCUs are no longer HBCUs. They were devised and created and established for us to attend these institutions of higher learning because we weren't welcome anywhere else. And other ethnicities are enrolling into our HBCUs to benefit them. Okay. They are coming into our institutions to receive all of the scholarship money, all of the fellowships, all of the grants. Meanwhile, our young Black brothers and sisters who um, are fighting for those seats to be entered into those institutions um, are being turned away. And so we've got to bring notice to that again, it's okay to have a Black space, and we need to start echoing those sentiments. Otherwise, we won't have a place at a table for just us anymore. I am Miss Nikki, and this has been the new format for Conscious Talk Radio. Feel free to subscribe to our station, which is at Urban Enterprises Tulsa on YouTube. Feel free to share and like, post it on Facebook. We've had to utilize this angle because Facebook has decided and had been playing tricks with our page and preventing us from being able to not only broadcast our normal Conscious Talk Radio on Facebook Live, but also started playing with our sound where people couldn't hear it, started playing with the stream where people couldn't access it. And so one thing I can tell you, and two things are for sure, is that at Urban Enterprises Tulsa, we are all about community activism, information, education, and Black empowerment by any means necessary. Because at the end of the day, baby, we have got to be on Black code. It needs to resonate amongst all of our melanated people that we've got to be Black first, Black last, and being on Black code for the rest of our Black lives. Again, you've been watching Conscious Talk Radio, and I'm your temporary host, Miss Nikki. Black power to all of the Black people. Right on.